Gold chains, heads wrapped like a Saudi. Tap in with the lokes, we the black Illuminati. We be posted at Lamert Park, hustling, catching bodies. A dripping OT, thirsty peaches flew to Saudi. Money schemes, my niggas had dreams of riding Bugattis. Now it's 4-finger rings, supreme, with kings around me. R.I.P. nigga Nip.
The real black Illuminati.
African American people are actually indigenous to this land. You know, they were already here. Columbus didn't find nothing new. There were already people here, you know, and he was in search while he was studying prophecy and scripture, trying to find a holy people that were promised a land that was located to the west, which was essentially us. And when he came on this land, he called us Indians because he thought he landed in India, which it wasn't true, you know. But we're melanated people. Some contain a little bit more melanin than others, you know, but we're still indigenous to this land. This land is ours, you know. So all this reparations and stuff that they want to give, you know, 40 acres and a mule or whatever, that's frivolous. That wouldn't account for anything, you know. That's blasphemy against our people, black and brown. We need our land back, point blank. There's no amount of money that can substantiate the amount of killing and bloodshed that's been done on our people, point blank, period. You know, so I don't know. It would be the somebody at me asking you, hey, how much do you think you're worth? Are you worth 40 acres and a mule? Oh no, I think you're priceless. Most of the so-called Africans or African American people are actually indigenous to this land. You know, they were already here. Columbus didn't find nothing new. There were already people here, you know, and he was in search while he was studying prophecy and scripture, trying to find a holy people that were promised a land that was located to the west, which was essentially us. And when he came on this land, he called us Indians because he thought he landed in India, which it wasn't true, you know. But we're melanated people. Some contain a little bit more melanin than others, you know, but we're still indigenous to this.
He said while studying prophecy and scripture. Is that how Columbus figured out where to go? Then he said he thought he was in India. I thought he was studying prophecy and scripture and going to the west. See, I like that brother. I like what he's saying. But we have to be careful. Because when it comes to this topic, it gets deep. Oh, it gets real deep. You get into finding out that what you thought you knew, you may not have knew as much as you thought.
Europe is filled with myths and legends about ancient civilizations that were said to have existed long ago, but met their demise, often because of some great cataclysmic event. The most obvious example is the story of Atlantis, made famous by Plato, but a term that existed before Plato's time, as it was also used by Herodotus. Other legends speak of inhabited regions to the north, such as Hyperborea, which allegedly was populated by a race of giants who lived beyond the north wind. We find similar stories of giants and cataclysms all over the world, even mirrored in parts of the Bible. There seems to be endless debate about whether these stories are based in truth or merely allegory. As early as the 12th century, the Irish believed in the existence of a strange island that could be viewed along the west coast of Ireland once every 7 years. There was an oral tradition of telling stories about an island in a fog bank or a floating island that would disappear when people approached it. Later, the stories were printed in books about Irish folklore. The text you're looking at is a chapter from a book titled Irish Wonders, published in 1888. It includes tales about ghosts, giants, demons, leprechauns, banshees, fairies, witches, old maids, and other marvels of the Emerald Isle. It's a story about an enchanted island that was allegedly visible to inhabitants of County Cork on July 7th, 1878. The island vanished and would later appear periodically off the west coast of Ireland. There continues to be widespread interest in the mythological island. The name High Brazil originated from Celtic mythology. According to Irish folklore, an island named High Brazil was visible from the west coast of Ireland for only one day every 7 years. The rest of the time it was obscured by fog.
Hi, Brazil. Brazil? Come on, man. And when you run it back and it's describing the giants and demons and ghosts and witches and warlocks. Let's go to the Blue Bible, page 33. It says, the family of Cain, known in Arabic as Yam or Canaan, the land they are from still bears their name today, Canada. Within their nation existed countless families, tongues, and lands. Still as a whole, they were all Canaanites. The Canaanites of Yam are the characters of mythology. Some are remembered as dwarfs and leprechauns. The scholars of the West call these people pygmy. Amongst them were tribes of tall people now remembered as giants, angels, and aliens. They were all children of God, born before other kinds of men, i.e. mankind. As revealed in the book of Genesis, chapter 6, the sons of God slept with the daughters of man. This produced offspring who were lighter, shorter, and weaker. Today, it is almost impossible to find anyone possessing 6 digits on their hand or feet. It seems the creators, Elohim, have failed and become the creation. Right? So, as you see here, there's an understanding, whether you're going from the point of Greek mythology, Irish mythology, a biblical mythology, there's an understanding of a people to the west, from the area where Mecca is, from the area where Jerusalem is, from the area where the so-called Middle East is. There's an understanding that to the west, to the far west, beyond the waters, to some underneath the waters, is the land of the people whom they assume to be myths. And now they tell us that we're from Africa. Oh, we understand we're the same as those people, but we know who land this is.
Irish poet Gerald Griffin describes it like this. On the ocean that hollows the rocks where ye dwell, a shadowy land has appeared, as they tell. Men thought it a region of sunshine and rest, and they called it High Brazil, the Isle of the Blessed. From year unto year on the ocean's blue rim, the beautiful spectre showed lovely and dim. The golden clouds curtained the deep where it lay, and it looked like an Eden away, far away. An island named Brazil was shown on maps of the Atlantic Ocean for centuries, with the earliest being a chart by Spanish cartographer Angelino Dolcart in 1325. Venetian cartographer Andrea Bianco placed an island named Insula de Brasil on the chart in 1436. Most mainstream historians believe that mapmakers placed the Phantom Island on their charts after hearing rumors about its existence. But since many failed expeditions were launched to find the island, they have concluded that the island never existed. Although it was never found, Brazil Island continued to appear on maps until at least 1873. This is a detail from a map created by Spanish cartographer Diego Gutierrez in 1562. The island is named Isola de Brasil. It is located southwest of Ireland and east of the sea monster. This map is published in 1570 by Abraham Ortielis. An island named Brazil is shown west of Central Ireland. It's situated right under the image of Europa, after whom the continent of Europe is named, sitting on a bull.
Okay. So we see over and over a description of land to the west, in the waters to the west of Europe. But the question is, no one, at least no one watching this channel, is really, under the spell of, Columbus discovered this. We all know there's people here. That's not what we're discussing. We're going a step further. We're saying, is it true that the Europeans did not know about the Americas? I'm the more that the information comes out, I don't believe it anymore. We're taught to believe that they didn't know. They did know. We keep finding map after map with the Americas. We keep finding trip after trip. But hey, let's keep listening to this.
In Greek mythology, Europa was the mother of King Minos of Crete and the Phoenician princess from the Phoenician port city of Tyre, which is in modern-day Lebanon. Incidentally, according to the Bible, King Hiram of Tyre helped King Solomon build the temple in Jerusalem. The Hiram Abiff myth is also used in secret Freemason initiations. In Homer's Iliad, dated to around 8th century BC, Europa is kidnapped by Zeus, who decided to seduce or rape her. In Greek mythology, there doesn't seem to be much of a difference. He transformed himself into a tame white bull and mixed in with her father's herds. While Europa and her helpers were gathering flowers, she saw the bull, caressed his flanks, and eventually got onto his back. Zeus took that opportunity and ran to the sea and swam, with her on his back, to the island of Crete. He then revealed his true identity, and Europa became the first queen of Crete. Zeus later recreated the shape of the white bull in the stars, which is now known as the constellation Taurus. It's interesting that cave art attributed to Cro-Magnon, created during the Pleistocene or Ice Age, also seems to depict astrological scenes with a bull representing the constellation of Taurus and the Pleiades right behind it on its back, which I write about in one of my books and will cover in a future video. That said, according to Herodotus, Europa was kidnapped by Greeks who were seeking to avenge the kidnapping of one of their princesses from the Peloponnese, a region of Greece that was ruled by the Spartans. Her name was Io, one of the mortal lovers of Zeus, an ancestor of many kings and heroes such as Perseus and Heracles, and astronomers even named a moon of Jupiter after her in 1614. Of course, Europa is also a moon of Jupiter, and Jupiter is the Roman name for Zeus. The ancients connected Io with our own moon, and in the Prometheus myth.
So what does this all mean? It's all myths when you're listening to them go back anything before Columbus. I said it. Everything before Columbus, when it comes to European history, is a myth. I mean, we always got to re-explain it, right?
The real black Illuminati.
So he said no priest tonight. What priest and them got going on? Let's see. Should we hop on deck with priest? Is priest turned up tonight, man? Shout out to Killer Priest in the Powercraft. Is they on one tonight? I don't know. Let me know. So one very big mission from Europe, I'm pretty sure it was plenty before this. We'll go deeper and deeper. But Brandon of Clonfert. Yes. Documented and well known. Funded and sponsored trip from Europe to the Americas to settle. But they want to keep starting you with Columbus. See, you got to understand what propaganda is, what would I like to call it? The when you tell your own story, right? It's always, you always put the 10 on the 2. You know what I'm saying? So Brandon of Clonfert, one of the early Irish monastic saints and one of the 12 apostles of Ireland. He is also referred to as Brandon the Navigator, Brandon the Voyager, Brandon the Anchorite, and Brandon the Bold. The Irish translation of this name is Noam Brenin and Noam Brandon. He is mainly known for his legendary voyage to find the Isle of the Blessed, which is sometimes referred to as St. Brendan's Islands. Okay? Check it out.
Story of Brendan's voyage, which was first recorded in Latin perhaps as early as the 8th century CE, is widely considered to be legendary. Indeed, there are clear parallels between it and an earlier Irish story, the Voyage of Mael Doone. In both voyages, the protagonists explore an island full of bird spirits, spirit birds, and they encounter giant crystal columns, and they sail across a translucent sea and go to an island full of giant smiths. Of course, Christian scribes lifting the cool bits from pagan lore and ascribing them to the lives of Irish saints is nothing new, and on its own doesn't necessarily negate the idea that the historical Brendan went on an actual, non-fantastical journey across the sea sometime in the 6th century. After all, the story of Viking Thorfinn Karlsefni's transatlantic voyage, as detailed in the 13th story of Brendan's voyage, which was first recorded in Latin perhaps as early as the 8th century CE, is widely considered to be
recorded in Latin in the 8th century. That means the 700s. Who came into Europe in the 700s and started recording things? Remember, in Europe, it was the Dark Ages. They weren't writing, they weren't reading. I got 30 seconds to tell me who came into Europe in the 700s. I'll give you a hint. It started 711. Who came into Europe in the 700s and brought the language Latin with which they started recording things? Okay. Somebody put Ottomans, Will Justice. No, Will Justice, not the Ottomans, not at all. The Ottoman Empire did not even exist in the 700s. As a matter of fact, the Turks themselves were still in their earlier stages, known as the Seljuk Turks, and they hadn't even converted to Islam yet in the 700s. How about that? So the Moors started all of
The
this.
real black Illuminati.
Now, if we go to page 37 of the Blue Bible, we'll see right here is that the people of Adam are of the Caucasus Mountains, not of Europe. Say it again. The people of Adam are of the Caucasus Mountains. It was us, the gods, who gave them their books, instructing them how to live. The land we gave them was Europe. The language we gave them was Latin. And the books we gave them were the books of Moses. Now you may say, put a time date on that, but here's the thing. This happened several times. When they were brought out of the Caucasus Mountains, this happened. That's how you got the Greek civilization. Then they fell apart from that. Then the ones that came from the Caucasus Mountains down into the Italian peninsula were given the Etruscan civilization, which they grew the first version of the Roman Empire. That fell all apart. Then they adopted Christianity from us under Constantine, which you got a whole new Roman Empire. And that fell all apart. So by the time 7-Eleven came, the type of things they were doing to each other in Europe caused them to run down. Let's go back to the Blue Bible. Oh yeah, the Blue Bible got all this for you. To run down and ask for our help. Page 45 of the Blue Bible. In 711 AD, King Roderick of Spain was accused of yepping, yes sir, Count Julian's daughter. Didn't we just hear about that in all the Greek stories and all the Roman stories? We were just watching the mythologies. Zeus couldn't stop doing this to people's daughter. The count appealed to Musa ibn Nasir, governor of Ifriqiya, who sent Tariq ibn Zayd to judge and rule. Together, the two Moors took the Iberian Peninsula back from the Christians of the West. So when they went in there, they took the Iberian Peninsula back from the Christians of the West. They went up into Europe. They brought them reading and writing, and they started recording their history. This is when the quote-unquote Caucasian people who couldn't read or write at the time began to learn to bathe themselves, began to learn to appreciate their culture, and begin to learn who and what they were. But guess what? Who possessed the information? Who even came into Europe and wrote the information down that they couldn't even read around them themselves? The Moors. So it's no need to go back to ancient Rome, ancient Egypt. It's not what we're talking about. Right now in the Middle Ages, as we can see when it said this story right here of the first man to cross from Ireland to the Americas, they said it was first written down in Latin in the 700s. It wasn't written down by the Pope in Latin in the 700s. The Moors started writing this history down for them.
Be legendary. Indeed, there are clear parallels between it and an earlier Irish story, The Voyage of Male Doon. In both voyages, the protagonists explore an island full of bird spirits, spirit birds, and they encounter giant crystal columns, and they sail across a translucent sea and go to an island full of giant smiths. Of course, Christian scribes lifting the cool bits from pagan lore and ascribing them to the lives of Irish saints is nothing new, and on its own, doesn't necessarily negate the idea that the historical Brendan went on an actual, non-fantastical journey across the sea sometime in the 6th century. After all, the story of Viking Thorfinn Karlsefni's transatlantic voyage, as detailed in the 13th story of Brendan's voyage, which was first recorded in Latin perhaps as early as the 8th century CE,
and it's about something that happened in the 6th century, the 500s. Brandon of Comfort. The principal works regarding Brandon and his legend are the Life of Brandon in several Latin versions and the Irish version, better known as Navigatio Sancti Brandani Abetis. That's written by him himself. Unfortunately, the versions of the Vita and the Navigatio provide little reliable information of his life and travels. They do, however, attest to the development of devotion to him in the centuries after his death.
I keep telling you,
yes.
Consciousness over coochie.
How you feel about that, Mo?
Man, Islam. Listen here, assalamu alaikum to the family. This is the breakthrough information that we needed from Crip, because a lot of these people keep on saying New World when they describe America to Europeans. And the facts of the Scottish or the Irish coming here as Vikings on ships has already been documented, and it's been documented on the walls of the Incas. So thank you very much. I mean, you got to bring some hard body for the God body. You know what I mean? So man, I'm loving it.
So Brandon was in his 70s when he and 17 other monks set out on a westward voyage in a wood framed boat covered in ox hides. So you see these type of details that he left behind. The monks
sailed the North Atlantic for 7 years and set down in North America circa 530 AD. So I also want to point out too that when we say Moors, we always think of the religion and go straight to Islam, not understanding that the Moors in description, that's why the prophet took us all the way back to the Moabites. He's saying the people who were here already, that were of the darker, complexion and the original Asiatic people of the area, we're doing these type of things. A lot of the stories that we hear about the Dark Ages and the plague and all of that are dealing with those people of the Caucasus Mountains that we were given the land to at that time. That's why I read that page in the Blue Bible. It was that part. You remember the Blue Bible is all about, it's nothing new. So it's not about it's the new Bible. This is the stuff they leave out.
The Blue Bible, man. Like blue balls, man. You know what I'm saying? This is stuff they didn't bust. They should have bust all this open. But we here to bust.
Exactly. So, Brandon the Navigator was for surely not only documented, but he celebrated. I think that's a big thing. So this is something for sure being held back from us. You get what I'm trying to say? They'll tell us about St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. They want you to celebrate Columbus Day, and he ain't do anything to be celebrated. Why don't the Europeans celebrate this documentation?
Excuse me, Dad.
Exactly.
Said on Monday, I would reprise a little bit of the discussion of St. Brendan the Navigator, since we're celebrating his feast Friday evening, Saturday morning. And reminder that he is a 5th, early 6th century saint known for establishing monasteries both in Ireland.
See how quiet it is? That's how they talk about him. They keep it on the
they whisper.
The real black Illuminati.
They whispering in his no.
Yeah.
And you know what? The reason why they don't want to yell it because they don't want to acknowledge who was here and who was discovered.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to acknowledge the advanced civilization here, the people who was already here.
And people don't know. That's why they twisted up Columbus' story. That's why they made him. Remember, he was a Moor. That's why they twisted his story up, because he left records of who he met when he got here. You know what I mean? What went down, what he saw. They wanted to hide all. They already had their plan to erase all that Moorish history. So once they got him, they did away with him. So
it was like
because they story, so they don't need this.
I said, man, these are Mansa Musa people, man. How'd they get over here, man?
Right.
They look like a whole bunch of mooses.
So this is Tim Severin. This is not just me reaching anymore, right? This is Tim Severin's book, The Brendan Voyage, where he actually spent years recreating the actual ship to prove this isn't just cap. He recreated the actual ship.
Yeah,
that would be
I read that. Yeah. In the 70s. Yeah, in the 70s he did this. Yeah.
So he did it to prove that this isn't just a myth. That in Ireland it's serious.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it's something about them Irish and Scottish tales that they just always mark as spookism, because what happens is the Irish was a more advanced European, pale European society. So they got to be they have to be dispelled with spookism. They have to be shown as ignorant brutes. They don't never want to acknowledge the Irish as intelligent, pale skinned European nations.
The wild coast of Kerry in Western Ireland, where a centuries-old mystery may soon be solved. A boat made of leather is about to set off on the tracks of the medieval St. Brendan, who, some scholars say, was the true discoverer of the American continent, 900 years before Christopher Columbus.
Uh-oh, 900. Brat, brat. What?
Leader of the expedition, Timothy Severin, and crew member, George Maloney. Norwegian Rolf Hansen is official photographer. A replica of the boat used by the sainted Brendan and other Irish navigators, this large curragh is built of oxhide on a frame of oak and ash. This part of the coast is dotted with the type of beehive houses in which St. Brendan and his fellow monks hid from marauding Viking pirates.
Not the pirates again. Man, them pirates is everywhere.
The St. Brendan and her 5-man crew set off, following the supposed course of the 6th century navigator, along the coast of Ireland, Scotland, to Iceland, Greenland, and Labrador. And then they'll go on to Boston. The voyage is scheduled to last 6 months. Ashore, an adventure just as grim is faced by school leavers every year.
Now, I'm going to tell you something that I didn't want to admit until I got deeper into the science. I actually traced my bloodline back this same exact way.
Oh, me too.
I said, oh no, this is more proof of the white man. My grandfather, he said, no, that's us. You know, he's not as articulate as us. He just like, no, that's us. I ain't got nothing else out of it. I said, huh? Well, check this out. We at year 500, right?
500, baby.
5 something. Check this out. Guess what type of coin that is, bruh?
Man, it got to be copper.
Let's talk about the metal.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Nations coin that is. I thought when I went to go find more of this mysterious selling from the islands west of Europe, you know, where the Moors were at, stuff, you know, from the island of Normandy and Scotland and Ireland, where the Moors were at, and you know, I thought I was gonna have to look over here, but if you can see on the other side of that coin, it says, can you see it?
You see if I can see it.
Founder of the New World. What does that say on the bottom right there?
Liberty. Hold on, I gotta blow it up. United States of America.
Yeah, so why is Leif Erikson on United? Leif Erikson is the name of the Viking who found America in the year 1000. Another 500 years before Columbus.
Wow.
Another 500 years after Brendan. So this is documented over and over again. Now I'm like, was this? Was this?
Oh no! I've been bamboozled again. Just when I thought they was gonna start telling me the truth.
Okay, Will
Crip Jesus is here to tell us you ain't gonna get the truth nowhere but here.
Okay, Will Justice, 100% right. Leif Erikson too. Okay, yeah, you want to come up and speak more on it? I'm gonna put the link down in there. So yeah, I've been getting on Leif Erikson today, right? And I'm gonna tell you something, bro.
What's happening?
I think I found a sicker reason why they've been holding it back.
Don't tell me it's the Scottish rites of the Masons.
These are the Moors that were coming back and forth to the America. We both know
that
how do I want to say this? That the so-called whiteface
pale skinned nations
that came to hide everything. That's like the Renaissance era. You know what I'm saying? Where they repaint everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so even Charlemagne and them, yeah, they may have converted to Catholicism, but these were still Moors. So they're bearing all of that. Right? So here's what I found. That this is when it overloaded for me. Now Columbus comes 1492, right?
That's what they say.
No, yeah, 1492, right?
Right.
And we know he goes to the Caribbean, South America, all of that. So look what I found. More Ireland. John Cabot, Italian navigator and explorer. His 1497 voyage to the coast of North America, Nova Scotia, under the commission of Henry VII, King of England, is the earliest known European exploration of coastal North America.
Early as what?
Earliest known. Which one is it? Is it the Viking? Is it
hey, you know how they Miss Society said, so you was at the liquor store at 12 o'clock. Yeah, I was at the liquor store at 12 o'clock. But you bust a bottle at 11:30. Yeah, 11:30. You know you fucked. You know you messed up. You know you can't get your lies straight. You can't get your lies straight.
So it would be from across right here in Bristol across to Nova Scotia. Now, as we see Bristol, we see right here where Britain is, Scotland, Ireland. It's all the same area, top of Europe. Right across to Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, top of Canada. Cabot went to Bristol to arrange. Okay, to arrange. Check this out. Pay attention to the wording. Preparations for his voyage. Bristol was the second largest seaport in England. From 1480 onward, it had supplied several expeditions to look for the mythical High Brazil. According to the Celtic legend, this island lay somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. There was a widespread
all right, you guys.
among the merchants in the port that Bristol man had discovered the island at an earlier date, but lost track of it. Now, mind you, before we think, oh, they just lying, it makes sense because they were in the Dark Ages. So this is one group of people who are trying to figure out what another group already knows.
Oh yeah, they that's how they try to hide the info, brother.
But as you can see, here goes even on the map right here of the whole.
But I don't think that they heard you though about that part about Brazil, bro. Could you say that part about Brazil? Because people think it was named Brazil in the 1500s.
So Brazil was considered a phantom island, ghost island.
By who?
By the peasants of Europe who were in the Dark Ages at the time. It seems the more we dig deeper that the educated men of Europe, known as Moors, were not only aware of this, but were also already taking advantage of going back and forth.
Come on, man.
Cabot went to Bristol to arrange preparations for his voyage. Bristol was the second largest seaport in England. From 1480 onward, had supplied expeditions to look for the mythical High Brazil. According to Celtic legend, this island was somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. There was a widespread belief that the merchants in the port that Bristol man had discovered the island at an earlier date, but lost track of it. So you can see he was coming, as you see through these lines right here, he was coming to Bristol. He's not from Bristol. That's what I'm trying to get people to understand. He's not from there. This is not an Irish man. This is not an English man. This is not a Scottish man. He's coming from the interior of Venice, over there by Greece and Italy and the Moors, by Asia Minor. Yeah. Cabot became a Venetian citizen in 1476. He's not even from Venice. He's not even from Venice.
Boy, they trying to get this lie right. They trying to get this lie. They trying to iron out the fact of that he.
I don't think it's a lie. I think it's a proof that he's not. We just would assume he's Irish because he's coming from Bristol. But when you do your homework, you find out he went to Bristol, and before that, he went to Venice to get his citizenship there. This is a man from nowhere else, right? A 1483 document refers to his selling a slave in Crete, whom he had acquired while in the territory of the Sultan of Egypt, which then included Israel, Syria, and Lebanon. Cabot later asserted that he had visited Mecca, which he said in 1497 to the Milanese ambassador in London. So he told the ambassador in London that he had visited Mecca. 1497. 1497, as you see right here on this stamp, Yeah, 1497 to 1897, Newfoundland, postage sent. 1497.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 1497, he going to Mecca.
This mystery is revealed in the Blue Bible. Cabot learned of it in the East. Okay, so look it. Pedro de Ayala, the Spanish envoy and Cabot's contemporary in London, described him in a letter to the Spanish crown in 1498 as another Genoese like Columbus. Now we taught in the lessons that Columbus is mixed. You feel what I'm saying? That these were people from the Middle East that were Moors that were mixed, and they would go join these cities. Remember, they knew how to speak many languages, right? And they would actually take these jobs on. They were the conquistadors and the travelers. They knew where to go and how to navigate the waters. You know what I mean? On behalf of the church. The church would later imprison these people and steal all their credit, actually.
Well, you know, the Moors were considered pirates. So you can say anything about a Moor, just like you can say anything about a Moor today, and the church don't believe, the courts don't believe.
Exactly. So John Cabot's son, Sebastian, said his father originally came from Genoa. Cabot was made a citizen of the Republic of Venice in 1476. Now, here's the big mystery. Okay. These lands that's being mentioned, how did these Moors get there? How did they know where they were going? Now, as I said in the book, that my grandfather revealed to me the bloodline, and I'm here to reveal it to y'all. So let's go to the Gullah Geechee, baby.
Now, oh man, let me put on that scuba gear. Hold on, man. I gotta put on some scuba gear, man. This just sounds like it's about to go deep.
Oh, it's about to get deep. Hold on. So before I get deep, Khwaja Rakib El Shamsi said OG Moors were Hebrews, Muslims, mystic Christians. They didn't care what called self as long as men of God. I don't know about that one, bro. They had names.
Oh yeah, and them names mean something because you took an oath.
Yeah, I think that's a way to escape the fact that they had names. You know what I mean? Like Al-Muhad, Al-Marvi. You know what I mean? These were real names. These are real empires that need to be studied.
Yeah, you couldn't just walk around and say I'm Muslim.
Yeah, nah.
You had to stand on 10. Yeah. You had to stand on 10. See, we say those things about those titles because today a Muslim ain't nothing to stand on. A Hebrew ain't nothing to stand on. You'll see them eating pork chop sandwiches, dating white, pale-faced women, all that type of stuff. Back then, come on.
But even with the I respect the brother, but when he's saying Sufi order, Hebrew, Muslim, that's a lot, brother. I mean, that's a lot. Because I mean, as the
that's two different oaths.
As the original bloodlines, yeah, I guess on the bloodline level, like the Hebrews that were in the lands, the earliest lands of Islam, and actually helped build Islam. Yeah, that's a fact. But we're talking about how we living right now. We're talking about where this information came from and what was going on. And the fact that is, when you go all the way back before the Hebrews,
way back.
I hate starting with the Hebrews with this. Oh, I'm a slave of the Egyptian, and they mad at me, and that ain't our story, bro. We're not the slaves of the Egyptians. Okay?
No,
that's the first brainwash for you.
Yeah,
the royal bloodlines. Feel me?
Yeah, that's the Ishmael spell. Yeah, you don't even know that. That's the Ishmael spell, bruh. You know what I'm saying? To say that that's where you come from, a descendant of a slave. No, we don't do that.
Gold chains, heads wrapped like a Saudi. Tap in with the lokes, we the black Illuminati. We be posted at Lamert Park, hustling, catching bodies. A dripping OT, thirsty peaches flew to Saudi. Money schemes, my niggas had dreams of riding Bugattis. Now it's 4-finger rings, supreme with kings around me. R.I.P. nigga Nip.
So,
thank you. I needed that.
Starting with page 59. So when you go to the index, go to the G, go down to Gullah Geechee. She says page 59. And it says, the reality is, when the English arrived in North America, the original people attacked them until they fled. So look what I'm saying. Those people that were there already. That includes Brendan Clumford and all of them. People don't want to admit that. Who was the original when the earth came out the water? No, we talking about who was the original before the Catholic came with their contracts and their
crest.
government. Yeah, their crest. So the reality is when the English arrived in North America, the original people attacked them until they fled. The pilgrims that stayed and formed the United States were attacked for 100 years. Those attacks are known as the Gullah Wars. The Gullah Wars did not end until the Gullah Geechee people forced the United States to free whatever slaves they captured during their battles.
Indigenous.
The story
Stand
of
on business.
slave people being freed by Abraham Lincoln is a lie. The United States President Abraham Lincoln created the 13th Amendment, which made slavery legal as a punishment for crime. That was the birth of slavery in America. Today, there are more people in prisons and other detention facilities than there ever were on plantations.
Come on.
Okay? So these Gullah Geechee people were not only here when they got here, they attacked them. And that's why they don't, that's why they not only erase them from history, but they deny them their existence today. These are not recognized, right? But we know they're there.
Oh yeah. It's not like they on some sovereign stuff either. They trying to be part of the nation, but not under rulership under the Empire of the United States. They trying to go face to face with the feds. You know.
Now the problem is, you know, we were already there and living our way of life, and now they've been coming in, raising the taxes, just making, you know, all these different rules and laws to get us off the land. You know, and it's been working, to be honest with you. You know, unfortunately. So now the point is, these are the people on the islands off the East Coast of the U.S. So we asked how'd they get there? Oh, some slave ships brought them there. Okay, we're not going to say there was no slavery there or there was no boats ever came there, but how did the original people that were there get there? Who was attacking the English when they first arrived? Who was attacking them for them 100 years they arrived? Who taught these people that were attacking them how to use weaponry, how to pray, how to have a whole civilization? Are you telling me the English arrived with slaves with them and the Indians just decided to free them? It doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah. Who was the interpreter?
But I'm saying, but you get what I'm saying? If I have servants with me, why are you fighting and risking your life to free my servants? That doesn't make any sense. They were freeing themselves from enslavement.
Facts.
These people landed here and tried to enslave them. Okay, so the first name Gullah, I presented in the Blue Bible and went even further in the Black Indian Wars as coming on both sides of the Atlantic. Gullah on the west, Gaul and Gaelic on the east. We're Europe. So let's go to the Blue Bible, page 83. History says the Gullah Geechee are descendants of African slaves. My story says my great-grandfather was a child of Gaul. That is the name of the original people of West Europe.
You
see
so
that?
What came first? What came first?
Huh?
I said, what came first, the Gullahs
or the Gaelic?
The Gaelic. Yeah.
Let's take it there.
And why? What? Yeah, hell yeah, because you already
the real
know.
Black Illuminati.
So how we simplify this is this. You have what we just showed for those that just getting here. We have several famous, popular, documented expeditions from Europe to North America by Brandon of Clonfert, who's supposed to be an Irish monk, who knew there was monks in Ireland way back then. And then we have Eric Leifson, the Viking leader, right? These are all titles of different dynasties, areas that we use to divide it up. But
there
as
you
a
go.
whole, these
tribes,
people were of what was Europe called back then? As we see on this map here, Gaule. Gaule didn't know just the French area. as you see on the map right there, it was interior Europe, interior where's Britain now, and Scotland and Ireland. So, and then the culture is still there in this fashion. This is the reason why the Europeans claim to have Egyptian bloodlines. They're just stealing it from us. Go read first, brother.
Yeah.
Before you get to talk about what the white man took and all that. You realize who he is, what we are, what they are, and what's going on. So the name Gaul, the Irish word Gaule, means a Gaul, right? Foreigner, to describe the Vikings and later the Normans, right? Now here's what's interesting. If we go to the west of the Atlantic Ocean and we find the Gala, you go on the other side of the Atlantic, in that same area, you find the Gaul, right? So it says on page 83 of the Blue Bible, history says the Gullah Geechee are descendants of African slaves. My story says my great-grandfather was a child of Gaul. This is the name of the original people of West Europe. The people of Gaul are children of the Egyptian princess Merit Aten, daughter of Pharaoh Akhenaton. After the fall of Tutankhamun, her family sailed to Portugal. The name Portugal means port of Gaul or port of the Gala. We are descendants of the Oromo people known as the Gala in East Africa. That's heavy. But look at these Roman coins depicting the Gallic in the Gallic Wars. This isn't made up. What is the connection between Scotland and Egypt? The Lebor Gabala Aaron states that Skoda was the mother of Godel Glass. This is where the eponymous ancestor of the Gauls. This Skoda, so Scotia, where you get the name Nova Scotia, isn't that where this goes all the way back to the first brother, Brandon of Clonfert? They said he found Nova Scotia. We don't talk about that much in the U.S. because that's Canada history. Even when the Vikings came, they say that's Canada history. No, that's North America. Proving the Europeans not only were coming to North America already, but it's documented, celebrated, and well known. Right? So to suppress it, they call it Irish myths, Viking myths. I go further and say these are during the times that they were in the Dark Ages. So this is what the Moors were doing. The Moors were the Vikings that were going across as Eric Leifson in the year 1000. The Moors is Brandon the Clonfert. And all this time I thought my first name was a white boy named Brendan. It's some more Brandon of Clonfert, the first one to come across to Newfoundland, Nova Scotia. Why Nova Scotia? Okay, why Scotia? So, like we said,
Scotia, Scottish. What's going down with these words,
Scotia
man?
was the daughter of an Egyptian pharaoh named Singris, a reference to Pharaoh Chinkres from the king list of Jerome, who was called Akinkeres in Egyptian records. That's Akhenaton. So as we start to look at these lands and see how close they are and realize Ireland is the top of the same island as right across from Scotland, which is in the same island as Wales and England. We be like, this is just splitting up the name by tribes and jurisdictions. We ain't got time for this.
Facts.
Who was Queen Scotia? The Irish legends mention Scotia as an Egyptian princess who grew up in her kingdom at the time of the prophet Moses. Over time, she met a Greek prince, Gathalos, who was exiled by his father and went to the Egyptian court. The Egyptian princess fell in love with him and married him. That's the myth. Can we go
That's
back?
the myth. Oh, man, I'm about to say, why they always trying to act like that white boy got so much game, man? If they don't stop doing that, they do that with Pocahontas. They do that with Cleopatra. They just keep doing it. Once they saw his saggy, bumpy red bumps and pale, hay-looking hair, she just couldn't resist. Are you serious?
Okay, so look. Now look, on page 83, I doubled down here where I said the people of Gaul are children of the Egyptian princess Merit Aten, daughter of Pharaoh Akhenaton. After the fall of Tutankhamun, her family sailed to Portugal. The name Portugal means port of Gaul or port of the Gala. We are descendants of the Oromo people known as the Gala in East Africa. So as we see Akhenaton here, right? This is identified as the father of Scotia.
Come on.
This is where you get the European wanting to emulate the Egyptian bloodline of the 18th dynasty in their rituals. A lot of us think it's some stolen stuff and all this and that. We're like, no, actually, we even retaught this back to them as Moors. Scottish Rite. So here's where you get into what's called the Atlantic Celtics. Isn't that what we're talking about? The Gaelics and the Celtics in the Atlantic, on one side being the Gullah, on the other side being the Gaul. So the Atlantic Celts.
You talking about it, but them. I said you talking about it, but these Britons and these Germans and these Franks, man, they don't want you to be talking about this, man.
So look, Serenito said the Egyptians went to Ireland. You are 1,000% right. But see, ma'am, this is where you might have to listen to me, Serenito. And shout out to Serenito. That's one of the biggest supporters of the Black Illuminati. She keeps us on deck all the way out in Australia, helping us re-educate the people all the way out in Australia. You gotta love that. Okay. Now check this out.
Oh yeah, facts.
Listen to what I broke down, Serenito. The story is that she went to Ireland. They also say she went to Scotland. They named it Scotia after her, right? But all of that is the myth that I revealed. The truth is that they went to Portugal. That's the port of Gaul.
Not Portugal.
They landed in Portugal and spread it up. So the Gaul, that's how they spread it all through the interior Europe and all that. We are one people. I'm about to show it right now through DNA. I'm not going to just keep using this history stuff. Watch this. In 2012, research showed the occurrence of the genetic markers of the earliest farmers of the Beaker culture of the Y chromosome R1b marker, going back to the Iberia about 2,500 BC. I've been studying this for years. This is my bloodline. What happened is when they landed in Portugal, they brought this genetic marker with them. Okay? And from there, it spread all throughout Europe. And it was the royal line. This would have the most children. You get what I'm saying? So this R1B1 was so popular about it. It's the same exact blood genetic marker on King Tut. They said, how'd he get over here? Because this is King Tut's sister.
What? Hold on, man. Yeah. Rewind that marker all the way up.
Yeah, I told you it's going to get deep. So listen. Remember I said the Oromo that's known as Guale in East Africa. When you look at them, you see the culture of Tut and Nefertiti and the Kenton and them still preserved naturally, but suppressed. Now, this branch under Princess Mary Atson that landed in the Iberian Peninsula was named Port of Gaul, right? The Port of the Gala, where we first landed. We named the peninsula Iberia after our greatest grandfather, Iber. Gaul is Iber. He come from that bloodline. Remember, she come from the Pharaonic bloodline. He, the father, Gaul, he's coming from this Iberian bloodline, which is coming from the Middle East to there. This is the crossover. This is the so-called Hebrew. In the Bible, his name is spelled Eber, from which derived the term Arab. In the Quran, he is referred to as Prophet Hud. From Portugal, we migrated north through France to Ireland and Scotland, where our culture is called Gaul, Gaelic, etc. Queen Elizabeth was not Gaelic. She was German. Her true name was Saxe-Coburg-Gotha. The Rivers family is the La Rivières of Normandy. We are Norman. In the far north, our pirates were called Vikings. They be like, man, I know you ain't saying you was a Viking. Yeah, we the Viking. Look at the horns on the Viking. Look at the fact that when they
Vikings, come on,
they found all the Arabic writing on them. Look at the fact they deal
come
with when you see them dealing with goddess worship. I mean, God, their deity worship. It's the horns and the fire, the things you will see of a Moabite, right? So
After the Norman conquest, the VI is six.
The sixth
king, sixth kingdom.
After the Norman conquest of 1066, our names entered Britain and the English culture. So all those, you know, how sometimes we've drawn our names back. Like, let's go back to Normandy or no, but you be like, but it came to the English. How? That's what we were just talking about earlier when we keep seeing the names go. When you trace your name back and it goes up through Canada and Newfoundland and all that and loops back around, you say, "Oh, that must be a slave name. That can't be me." No, we took that route. That's the route we took. The word Geechee is short for Ogeechee River in Georgia. That is where we settled in North America. We joined the Mississippian civilization that built cities called chieftains and pyramids called mounds in North America. We joined in. Okay, and we brought this genetic marker with us. The results showed that King Tut belonged to a genetic profile group known as haplogroup R1B1A2, to which more than 50% of all man in Western Europe belong to, indicating that they share a common ancestor. So when they get to arguing, like, man, we're the Egyptians.
Not to mention,
and if you can't explain this,
not to mention,
not to cut you off, but what do we use to argue? Pale skin, dark skin. It's not gonna work like that. You gotta know your stuff.
It ain't.
That's why the blue Bible's here.
No,
clear up the new age mix up. Yeah, we gave birth to y'all. That's from Portugal.
Yeah.
You know exactly what's going on. Crip Jesus told us.
Yeah.
It was very interesting to discover that he belonged to a genetic group in Europe. There were many possible groups in Egypt that the DNA could have belonged to.
And if you ever know the conversation with Europeans would tell you Irish and Scottish are pale niggas. They'll let you know that. That's how they treat them. And if you look at them, they do have a thicker beard like a Moor.
Let me take you further. King Seven Allah, his grandfather's Irish. He told me flat out when his G pops with the signs, he said Irish means Moorish.
Come on, bro. I done had teachers come up to me, white European Irish teachers. They'd be like, "Hey, I know you're the only one in class, but they used to treat me just like I was black." And she got blue eyes. Blue eyes and yellow hair. But because they knew she was Irish, they treated her a certain way amongst the pale-skinned nations of Europe.
And that's why these T-shirts are important, because this ain't just the mother of some black African. This is when you get the blue Bible and start connecting the pieces. We the mothers and fathers of the world.
Reporting live from Abu Dhabi, Black Illuminati. Make sure you go get your shirts.
Shit. Now let's meditate and separate from the RH negative, slow, repetitive.
I told y'all all colors and styles.
Illuminating the blackness.
Just had Will Justice in the back. I don't know where he went, but yeah. So,
well, I am. Where you at?
This will answer a question. Have you ever, especially us being from the streets and having certain dress thing, have you ever looked at the Scottish quilt like, man, like a skirt or something?
Yeah, always, all day. I see them walking around wearing it.
Like we take it like soft, right? Now, have you ever start opening that eye and saying, damn, is the Egyptians wearing this? You start seeing the Egyptian,
yep.
You got the quilt on? Huh?
Yep. I've always looked at that like that was not feminine until recently.
Okay, so yeah. we see the Egyptian leader with it on. We see the Scottish with it on, and then we see some of the Indians with it on. Not only just in India, but even over here, like the natives, like certain tribes, you be like, "You got a quilt on?" Right? Am I tripping?
Oh man, no, you ain't tripping. I mean, the robe has always been signifying.
Okay, so so I was just talking about. Let's back it up a little bit. History says the Gullah Geechee are descendants of African slaves. My story says my great grandfather was a child of the Gaul. This is the name of the original people of West Europe. The people of Gaul are children of the Egyptian princess Merit Aten, daughter. This is page 83, the Blue Bible. Daughter of Pharaoh Akhenaton. After the fall of Tutankhamun, her family sailed to Portugal. The name Portugal means port of Gaul or port of the Gala. We are descendants of the Oromo people known as the Gala in East Africa. We named the peninsula Iberia after our greatest grandfather, Iber. In the Bible, his name is spelled Eber, from which derived the term Arab. In the Quran, he is referred to as Prophet Hud. From Portugal, we migrated north through France to Ireland and Scotland, where our culture is called Gaul, Gallic, Gaelic, etc. Queen Elizabeth was not Gaelic. She was German. Her true name was Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, last name. The Rivers family is the La Rivieres of Normandy. We are Norman. In the far north, our pirates were called Vikings. After the Norman conquest of 1066, our names entered Britain and the English culture. The word Geechee is short for Ogeechee River in Georgia. That is where we settled in North America. We joined the Mississippian civilization that built cities called chieftains and pyramids called mounds in North America. Okay? So
That's very important because you said your name entered into Europe, not coming from Europe.
No.
And this is why a lot of people, if you trace your name to Europe, you won't see a lot of people with your last name. That's just the facts. You got your last name is more popular in America than it is in Europe, but they try to tell you that it's a European name.
Well, I even went as far back as to show that my last name goes back to Europe, but I was able to show by the Iber, right? So La Rivieres of Normandy is how you would say it in its, original royal way in the Norman style, right? Now it's been watered down to rivers, but that's coming from what we're talking about when it entered the Britain and English culture, right? But going back before that, when I said Iber and Iberia, that's actually my name. I kind of threw it in there. I don't know if everybody's going to catch it, but if the R is placed on the front to make it masculine, the V and the B are interchangeable when you're dealing with the Spanish. So it's Riveres, right? So it's like the Iber.
Oh, yeah. I call it.
So the name, as it travels and adjusts to each culture, right? So the word Geechee is short for Ogeechee River in Georgia. That is where we settled in North America, right? We joined the Mississippian civilization that built cities called chieftains and pyramids called mounds in North America, right? So the point is, this is a unification here. If the Gullah goes back east and the Geechee goes back west, we've met in the middle now. I didn't say we are the chief mound builders. I said we joined in with them. Last time I checked, once you amalgamate, you the same thing. So I'm the chief mound builder as well. Right? So the Christians first learned of our civilization after kidnapping Francisco de Chicora in 1521. It's the reason I put the Christians. Now we just revealed all these different missions, the Vikings and the Irish monks that went before them. Why do they call them monks? Vikings. They're excluded. They're Xing them out of the Christian narrative they're about to create. See what I'm saying? So the Christians first learned of our civilization. This is documented. Remember, I wrote the book in a way where you could Google and look up anything I'm saying. That's why things are spelt a certain way and all that. So the Christians first learned of our civilization after kidnapping Francisco de Chicora in 1521. His last
1521.
Name, yes. This is North America we talking about. Remember, they said they ain't get here till 16 something, right?
1619.
Yeah, 1619 Mayflower. That's the English. So this is the Spanish. His last name was a translation of the true name Shakur. Other variations of his family name were Shakur and Al-Shakur. The first English settlement in North America was not Jamestown. The English first attempted to settle in North Carolina, 1587. Their leader, John White, left for supplies and returned to an empty colony. All he found were skeletons. In 1622, we organized the Jamestown Massacre. So they try to talk about we were slaves and we just came in 1619. No. 1622, we organized the Jamestown Massacre. The question is, do we believe that that's us? We're going to tell you that's the Indian Massacre. We murdered about 400 pilgrims and would have been more if a snitch didn't warn them. We didn't have a problem with the snitch.
I wonder if he was Irish.
In 1715, we organized a massacre in South Carolina that turned into an all-out jihad known as the Yamasee War. This is what I've been waiting to show you. This is what I've been waiting the whole video to post about. This is the people from the Yamasee War. Don't they look just like
Sekou?
Don't they look just like the Scottish? Don't they got the quilts on?
Mm-hmm.
They made the shirt. Look at Chief Sekou. That's Chief Sekou of the Yamasee tribe today, bro. That's not no picture of him hundreds of years ago. That painting is from 1715. That painting from 1715. See that red flag, the Moroccan flag? I didn't make none of this up. That's a painting from 17. You can get, matter of fact, for y'all that's still in doubt, or for y'all that ain't got your copy yet, get your copy of the Black Indian Wars. The first picture on the front is the Yamasee War. Okay? That's for your kids, really. This is for the family.
Look up the OG, man, Chief Sekou.
It's a family heirloom right here. You need to have in the household passed down. Okay? Because all the pictures in here and what it reveals. Okay? So this is the Yamasee War. Why are the Yamasee dressed up like the Scottish and black as me and you and fighting the British? That's the Gullah. That's the Gaelic. That's the Gaul. They start off in the port of Gaul, Portugal. These are the Moors. These are the Moors before 7-Eleven. Been there the whole time. If you're familiar with kilts, you may know that they are often associated with Scotland. However, you may be surprised to learn that kilts also are worn in Ireland, where they are known as Irish kilts or tartans. One of the main differences between Irish and Scottish kilts is the tartan pattern. That's it. So here goes Cromwell. And this is where the story gets all different. Cromwell was actually responsible for shipping out many slaves, indentured servants, criminals, white slaves from out of Ireland, Scotland. Remember, all them islands are right next to each other. Most of them names are just different jurisdictions. Where were they shipped to? Barbados, Jamaica.
The Browns.
And this is why this is so important, because there's a style over there that a lot of people may not know about called ska. Yeah, ska is not only a style of music, it's a style of dress. You see the same Scottish pattern with the checkered in it. You know where that come from? You know where that come from? The Almohad Empire. Yeah, but the Almohad Empire made that very popular. Now, it's been around already, like you said, with Ireland and the Egyptians bringing it over there. But the Almohad Empire, remember every time you see a flag, it got the checkered thing on it?
Yeah,
they was known for playing chess. They was known for playing chess. So they made that back popular again over there. So forgotten white slaves is about 100,000 Irish people and probably far more sent as slave labor to the new British colonies in 1650s to 1660s. It began in 1625 when James XI issued a proclamation that 30,000 Irish political prisoners be sent to the Caribbean. It escalated 25 years later under Oliver Cromwell, Lord Protector of England, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. By his death in 1658 from pneumonia, safe in his England home, the Irish population of 1.5 million was down to an estimated 600,000. They emptied them out over there.
Heads.
And you want to be wondering, where are all the black scholars? Where are all the Moors? Man, y'all better check the book. It's written down.
Talk about it. So they over there talking about you came from Africa. I don't think you all came from Africa. A lot of y'all came from Ireland.
Uh-oh. Amen.
The real black Illuminati.
Niggas trying to claim Africa.
And you Irish. Put that Simpson character up there.
In 1655, Henry Cromwell, Major General of the Parliamentary Army in Ireland, arranged for the transportation of approximately 1,000 Irish girls and 1,000 Irish young men be sent to assist in the colonization of Jamaica. The first wave of Irish immigrants occurred in the early 17th century, principally sailors, servants, and merchants. Many of the poorer immigrants were displaced Gaelic, Irish, and Anglo-Irish Catholics. Now, what I found interesting right here is it said 25% of Jamaican have Irish ancestry. There's an undeniable connection between the Irish and Jamaican people. I even have seen, I need to pull a video up where they'll show you how the Jamaican accent is actually an Irish accent, like slowed down.
Man, I was waiting for you to say that. Boy, a Jamaican think he got a Jamaican accent. No, you don't, bruh. You don't know you're Irish.
No, it's funny you say that, right? Because the pirates used to kick it in Jamaica. That was the worst island for the slavery and the pirates. They had it bad there. It was Port Royal or something, they had it real bad there. So that it's funny you say that Irish sailor accent. That mighty. That's Jamaican.
That's Jamaican, bruh. But I ain't gonna lie to you now. That also might be Moorish.
I mean, of course.
Now,
that's what we're proving today. That those Irish pirates were actually they were us, right? But it's just hilarious, man. The deeper we get into this science, this is one of the ones with this.
The most beloved proprietor of this accent. Of course, this accent and this nation are way more than just a series of tropes and stereotypes that I just laid out there. But I'm sure you understand where I'm coming from with all this. The Jamaican accent is one that is loved by just so many people. In fact, Big Seven Travel, whoever they are, listed the Jamaican accent as the world's 17th sexiest accent, nestled between the Yorkshire and Danish accent. That puts the likes of Bob Marley with the likes of Sean Bean and Mads Mikkelsen. Pleasant company to be with, that's for sure. Away from its relaxed vibe, however, Jamaica isn't. They spoke, among other things, a language now referred to as Taino/Classic Taino. As to what...
So he is right. We do got to give the Taino their credit, because that's where you go into the Moorish as far as our side of it, in the Western side. We do have a certain way that we patois the languages and flip them. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of those Eastern languages, when they came over,
you don't drip everywhere.
Got mixed with us.
Now come sit down.
Let's go back to a conversation me and you were having earlier. I don't want to go too deep into it, but how you were saying the languages over here were older. That's why you had less writing, less documentation,
exactly,
more that led to nether science. So what you see is we take the languages from over there, it's all complicated and simplify it with that that met to nether type. Yeah, where's bond?
What their accent would have sounded like, we don't seem to know. However, it's safe to assume that they may have sounded somewhat similar to other native tribes of South America, as that's where they came from initially. While they were the first groups of people would intermix and live among one another in Jamaica.
I want to get to this part of the video where he says British English plus various West African plus Irish equals Jamaican.
The accents of Ireland and West Africa, along with a heavy dose of British English from their British Empire rulers, would go on to form what we know today as the modern Jamaican accent. It wouldn't be until 1962 that Jamaica achieved independence. While no longer under British rule, Jamaica found itself heavily influenced by...
You know what I don't like about him? He talking too much. They got people that can actually show it to you, where they actually act it out.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, they got way too much talk.
Let's see if this brother know how to do it.
This word right here, Hibernia. You've never seen this word before in your life. This was the old name for Ireland. Now, why don't they show you this word anymore? Everybody got a King James version of the Bible. This was the old name for Ireland. And Jamaicans today say Irie to say what? Everything is all right? In what language? There's none. Irie does not mean everything is all right in no language in the earth. Irie was a signal for Jamaicans to point to other brothers that came on the same slave ship from them to say that they were transported from Ireland. This word right here,
boom.
Hibernia.
Now, here's the cool part. He's right. It was called Hibernia. That's a fact. Here we go.
Hibernia.
I bet you this white boy do it.
The Irish accent and the Jamaican accent sound similar because they are similar. And that's because Irish indentured servants taught African slaves how to speak English in Jamaica. Bear with me, because I've been getting these comments in a lot of my videos for a while now. But first, let me start a couple of hundred years ago. The British doing what they do best, they colonized Jamaica. So they sent slaves from Africa and indentured servants from Ireland. Now, what's the difference between an African slave and an Irish indentured servant? That's widely disputed amongst historians, but the only thing I know is that it was absolutely fucking shit for both sides. Thousands of these African slaves and thousands of these Irish indentured servants both died because the conditions were so fucking bad. But the Irish and the newly raised slaves were fucked. Both of them in their own little hell on earth. But this is where the Irish servants started to teach the African slaves how to speak English. And that's how our accents sound so fucking similar. Until this...
Come on, man. It's like we've been taught the racism and now we want to be racist. No, they're the enemy.
The only problem.
No.
The only problem with that is the Irish didn't speak English. They had to learn how to speak English when they came to America. So I know they didn't speak English when they went to Jamaica.
But they did speak English. They just spoke it in their broken Irish way.
Yeah, but I'm saying they speak Gaelic coming out of Irish. Ain't no English schools in Ireland in the 13, 14, 15, 1600s. There wasn't none in the 1700s in America. So I know they had nothing.
But we just broke down for an hour who the Gaelics were.
That's what I'm saying. He's saying the reason why white Irish or pale-skinned Irish talk the same.
He didn't say pale skin. You had that in there. He didn't say that. He just said the Irish taught the Jamaicans because the Jamaicans were speaking the Taino.
Okay. You're right. Maybe I added that part in there. I'm about to say because that's what I want. That's what I wanted to say. That no,
they speak in Taino. We over here speak the Muskogee in our different tongues, right? So in order for us to be able to speak with the English, you have these Irish brothers that's way lighter than us. So I'm with you on that, but they still not them. You feel what I'm saying? And they were the ones that were showing us the English words. They were the ones that were talking to us, because they knew Arabic as well. They knew Hebrew as well. They knew other tongues. They knew Latin as well. They Moors. Irie is a Jamaican slang term that originated in the Rastafari movement. It's used to describe a feeling of peace, harmony, and positive vibes. When you're Irie, you're feeling good, happy, and content with your life. It's a state of mind. That's a Rastafarian culture. And it's not Rastafarian culture. But alhamdulillah, Rastafarian culture for preserving it. That's why they'll be like, I don't want to be religious. No, we need to be. That's why forming our own religions or at least grabbing onto our original is important because they preserve our culture.
Man, hold on. You got to say that again, bro.
Leeching.
Say it again.
Back to the ways of our forefathers and foremothers, or at least forming new ways based on those ways, are important because they preserve our culture. When we just go with this hip hop, do what you want, make it up with the new mix every day, you can get led anyway.
Oh man, religion preserves your ancient culture.
So read about it. Is what we just showed you was not to confuse you. I hope nobody's lost. The reason why we like, where they at? We in Ireland, we in Barbados, we in Jamaica, we in Scotland, is we still talking about the Gullah Geechee? Yes, because we were trying to figure out why the Gullah Geechee look like them, why they sound like them, why they everything like them, but they supposed to be like us in the US. No, because we the brainwashed ones on the main line, on the mainland. I got a sister that by buying books from me. She Gullah Geechee from South Carolina. She says she buys my books because when she goes on the mainland, they don't even know what she talking about. She's like, man, I go on the mainland. They act like they be asking me, am I from Jamaica or something? She said the way that she talked from the islands right there next to South Carolina, when she comes onto the mainland, go to university, they think she from a whole nother country. That's how lost we are from ourselves.
Facts. That's how lost the history and the culture is, because they didn't preserve it on the mainland. They allowed the wind to blow them from here to there. After the 1910s, after the Noble Draw League got out the way, we became whatever the radio was playing.
But here's the cold part about it. Can you believe this? Can you believe this? Oh, let me drop this bomb on you. Me and you. All these years we was fighting to figure out what we would. This group, that group, this group, that group, the Christian wooty woo, the Muslim and it was more the whole time. It was this brother right here dressed up saying, I'm with the Turkish Empire. I would have been the last one in my mind. And it makes so much sense. It's so simple to me now. It's like the same way we had a pope over everything on that side. We had a sultan on everything on this side, the Moorish side.
Come on.
Whether you were a Moor under the Christian umbrella, the Jewish umbrella, the Muslim umbrella, these were the rulers on this side.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So the first one to bring this science to us, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, as you said, right? It's a brother, Supreme Grand Sheikh, Kinu Omar Bey. He got a book called The 107 Amazing Facts about the Indigenous Moorish Americans of the Western Hemisphere.
Hey, put that link in there so we can get that book.
Let's get it.
Islam to the Supreme Grand Sheikh Kinu Omar Bey. This is one of the ones, man. This is going to be in a lot of libraries for a long time, as long as I'm around. You want to receipt, brother?
Somebody said Christian Moors. Yes, brother. Let's do this today before I read out this book. Let's break out of the religious fantasy. Come on, y'all. 1, 2, 3. No more religious fantasy. There was never a place where everybody dark-skinned believed in one thing at one. Maybe in the beginning, a billion years ago or something. We had countries, bro.
Maybe Mars.
It's not a lie. Don't stop thinking I'm there and want to cry. Our people really don't believe this stuff. They be thinking it's a mystery. We had 4 nations. You ain't never had a nation with just one religion. Then we start beefing with each other over that religion. Then it don't work like that. He said, "Don't patronize me, brother." Okay, my bad. I'll just say it. Look. Christian Moors is
we didn't know where you was coming. How you was landing at Christian Moors, man.
Yeah, because
we didn't know that was a joke.
No, there ain't no joke. It was a hell of Christian Moor. When you look at Mauritania, when you look at even the Empire of Morocco, look how many Jews and Christians they had in there.
Facts.
A lot. And I would even go as far as to say Morocco is where that's why I'd be laughing at the Hebrew Israelites, because Morocco is where all they were at. All the original people of those bloodlines.
Yahuds.
Yeah, the Yahud, the tribe of Benjamin, the tribe of Levi, the tribe of Simeon.
Yeah.
They were in Northwest Africa. They were more. Their buildings are there. Their art is there. Their money is there. The flags.
I mean,
are all over the place.
You a Yahud before you a Muslim, so of course.
So these nations, but I understand where people become from because they see the religion. The religion is who's the leader. So they were under the Islamic empires. But these lands, people of all type of religions inside of them. Just like the Christian land had Muslims and all, Hindus and Buddhists inside of them. Okay? Yeah. So here's the point. There's a brother who is the epitome of what we talking about. The Gullah Geechee. The Is America, West Africa, far on the west, getting deep in. Like I said, the Supreme Grand Sheik, Kinu Omar Bey of the Unity Temple, Moorish Science Temple of America. His book, 107 Amazing Facts About the Indigenous Moorish Americans of the Western Hemisphere. Here's what I'm going to do for y'all. Hit me up directly, 213-667-1094. We're going to get this to you, okay? I like to go down to the temple and grab it myself, so you ain't got to worry about getting the mix up off the internet. In a fact number 29, you ready for this?
Let's go.
His name is Nika Jack Bey, also known as Nigger Jack, was a Moor.
That sounds like an Ireland name.
This ancestor led raids against the colonial rebel army, United States. Look how he described it. Colonial rebel army.
Mainland army.
Colony. Rebel army. So we're not used to even hearing it described like that. We're used to hearing the United States described as us and them and them. See what I'm saying? So he's saying they're the colonial rebel army. We were against that. This is some of our ancestors. During the colonial rebel uprising, which is the United States Revolutionary War, they were rebelling against the Moorish crowns. And we were fighting against them. He fought alongside of the British Tories. A lot of us don't know what that is because they don't pump that up over here. They don't talk about it. The British Tories.
Oh, you better shut your mouth right now, man. You opening up a bag.
Loyal to the British crown.
Facts.
His hideout was a cave in the vicinity of what is now known as Chattanooga, Tennessee. In the state of Georgia, in the region known as Cobb County, there is a park, a road, and a creed named after this great warrior.
The Redcoats, baby.
Hand over the heart. Look what I found on Google, since y'all like Google so much. The area known as Nickajack generally refers to the rugged Appalachian foothills in East Tennessee and northeastern Alabama. Nickajack is a corruption of the Cherokee word Anikusatiyi, which translates to Coosa Town, but it more likely references Cusada Town. Do they think we stupid?
Yeah, because Nika sound like Cusada, right? Man, we know what Nika sound like. Put that GG right there. Take that CK up out of there.
So let's go with what they say. It still come back to us. The Coosa chieftain was a powerful Native American paramount chiefdom in what are now known as Gordon and Murray. Now, remember I said, let's go back to the Blue Bible. Remember I said, Geechee River in Georgia. I said, we joined, the word Geechee is short for Geechee River in Georgia. That's where we settled in North America. We joined the Mississippian civilization that built cities called chieftains and pyramids called mounds in North America. Come on, man. What does it say? Coosa chieftain, right?
Facts.
I wrote the book in a certain way so you can break through all their little code words. It was inhabited from 1400 till about 1600 and dominated several smaller chiefdoms. The total population of Coosa's area influence reaching into present-day Tennessee and Alabama has been estimated at 50,000. In the late 18th century, during the colonial war with the Chickamauga, the area was inhabited by the Chickamauga, Cherokee, and Muskogee Creek warriors residing in the 5 lower towns on the Tennessee River of Chattanooga. The warriors were mostly Cherokee men, led by Dragon Canoe. Small groups of Shawnee and Creek lived and fought with them, and the occasional bands of the Muskogee, who were also allies. So you see the names there, them all sound familiar, right? These are the names we hear. Oh, I'm Creek, I'm Muskogee, I'm Chickasaw, right? This is all of them together. What was bringing them together?
I see.
We don't believe in Islamism. So
it's already tied together.
Hernando de Soto and his conquistadors led an expedition through the southeast United States in 1539-1541, right? The Europeans recorded descriptions and impressions of the various chiefdoms they visited, describing Kusa as a series of communities and fertile gardens containing much food rather than a town or city. Kusa was also the name of one of the 4 mother towns. So you see this name that they're saying his name goes to is a major name that goes back to the original people.
Man, this is what you call a clan. When you have a major group of families that have an agreement with each other to live in the same environment, this is called a clan.
So this is the cave that the Grand Sheik mentioned. Let's go back to what he said. It's checking out so far. He said that Nigger Jack Bay, also known as Nigger Jack, was a Moor. This ancestor-led raid against the colonial rebel army, United States, during the colonial rebel uprising, United States Revolutionary War. He fought alongside the British Tories. His hideout was a cave in the vicinity of what is now known as Chattanooga, Tennessee. Then we just seen that all the name went back to those areas. They said translate the Coosa and all the Coosa, Chattanooga, right? But he said hideout was a cave. This is the Nigger Jack Cave.
The Nigger Jack, listen here. The Nigger Jack Cave, the Nigger Jack Trail. I'm reading.
Formerly called Tekalasi, near the site of the former town, may have been used as a hideout in Ketche by the Chickamauga Cherokee. During the Civil War, its deposits of bat guano were mined by Confederate forces. The cave became one of the leading sources of saltpeter for the Confederate powder works at Augusta, Georgia. The road used to transport the material was known as the Nigger Jack Trail. This is the stuff that they later on came into. This is the stuff that the Confederates came on later and said, "Oh, this is ours. This is what we used in slavery." They lied.
Period.
You see, the Confederate areas, or they use this for the gun trade. We've been there.
Period. You wouldn't have found it if it wasn't for us. It ain't something you discovered. They talking about, oh, we was hiding out over there. He wasn't hiding out over there. We was creating things in our army.
The historic Nigger Jack Cave, Nicka Jack Cave, partially flooded by its namesake lake, a lake too, Nigger Jack Lake, is considered to be biologically one of the most important caves in Tennessee.
They didn't want to say Nicka. They didn't want to say Nigger Jack.
Hey man, I'm feeling good. I'm a Scottish first nigga, right, Boris?
Right.
That's
I got a nigger bat. Man, let's go. That's why we're good at baseball.
This is primarily because of the thousands of gray bats that inhabited from late April through early October, with peak numbers being in June and July. The gray bat, a medium-sized, short-eared species, is one of over a dozen in Tennessee and is listed as federally endangered.
Federally endangered. They tried to kill all the bats that was making the good gunpowder.
I found his last name was Calvin. Nigger Jack Calvin. Nigger Jack.
Oh, we know a lot of Calvins.
The real Batman.
Nigger Jack Bay. Damn. You ain't right for that one. The real Batman. Oh, you stupid.
You feel what I'm saying?
You stupid. Listen here.
Think about it. He up in that cave with all them bats all them years. He really was a bat.
Damn.
Oh yeah, bro. They only giving us half the story. This was a bad nigga.
Right. And what's Batman's name? Bruce Wayne?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we got to look into that Bruce Wayne. They always throwing stuff in front of us.
Mm-hmm. You feel me? Remember, Bruce Wayne didn't have no superpowers. He just come out and whoop your ass.
Right.
Like nigga Jack Bay to me.
And look, and he hella military, like he hella militant. He know to make all type of military weapons and ammo to beat up his people. So you know they talking about this dude because he was up in that cave doing the same thing with that gunpowder.
This is footage from the actual cave. You see them overabundance of bats. He's up in there with bats, bro.
Oh yeah,
I bet he was gangster. He make a move when he want to and all that.
Oh, he clap his hand like Birdman.
Mm-hmm. So this is how they try to flip the story. Okay. So it says, the white man and one of the Negroes wandered through the woods without food for nearly 2 days, finally reaching the bluff. A survivor, a free Negro by the name of Jack Cavall, was wounded, captured, and carried a prisoner to one of the Chickamauga towns near Chattanooga. He afterwards became notorious as a member of a thieving band of Indian marauders who, making headquarters in that region, wrought great havoc on the settlements west of the mountains. The village of Nickajack, or Nigger Jack's town, which was afterwards founded, took its name from this captive. No.
Took his name from his captive, huh? When does that ever happen?
Exactly. We're going to name it after the captive. That's like when you find them coins. That's like, okay, get your copy of the Black Indian Wars. That's like this right here. So in the Black Indian Wars, we have a picture of King George III from the coin of Barbados, right? This is a coin from Barbados, 1788. But of course, they're going to tell you, no, that's a slave on that coin. That's not King George. Why you got a crown on? Why would you put the slave on your money with a crown on? Come on now.
When was the last time you whooped a dude and then you gave him the keys to your car?
Exactly. So with that crown in that tree is actually, well, Charles II, the king, the quote unquote dark melanated black king of the British at the time, had to hide in a tree from what was called the Roundheads, a group of people that were against the crown. So you had the loyalists that was called the royalists that were loyal to the crown. Then you had the Roundheads who were saying, nah, we want the parliament. We don't like what the king and the queen is saying. So, you know, it's crazy. They use that type of language now to convince us to roll with them, go against the monarchy. But really, those monarchies were our bloodlines, right?
And they use the same colors too. The Republicans are red, and the Democrats are the blue rebels.
Mm-hmm.
And the Republicans and Democrats are always going at each other about who is a more patriot. But you see who's more patriot, who wants everything made in America and who wants everything made somewhere else.
Exactly. So we see, let's go back to the 107 amazing facts of the Moorish American, the indigenous Moorish American of the Western Hemisphere.
Islam to the Supreme Grand Sheikh Kinu Omar Bey. This is one of the ones, man. This is going to be in a lot of libraries for a long time, as long as I'm around. You want to receipt, brother?
So as we can see, as we bring it back, look at the picture there. This picture is representing the actual the British Tories who fought against the U.S. in that U.S. American Revolutionary War. So as you see the dark melanated brother right there, this was a mixed military, right? Now, as we just showed, Nigger Jack Bay Cave, Nigger Jack Bay Trail, Nigger Jack Bay Lake, Nigger Jack Bay Town. I don't think they had a Nigger Jack Bay Lake Town Cave and all that just because. So this was the real Batman, as we can see from his cave, right? And he coming out and he laying foot down and ass. But it's deeper than that. Why are we able to find these type of stories? Why is it so hard for us to figure this out? Then we look them up and they find out they're not even hiding some of this stuff. Let's go. The 107 amazing facts about the indigenous Moorish Americans of the Western Hemisphere. Tap in for your copy. Fact 29. Nigger Jack Bay, also known as Nigger Jack, was a Moor. His ancestral led raids against the colonial rebel army during the colonial rebel uprising, which is the United States Revolutionary War. He fought alongside the British Tories. His hideout was a cave in the vicinity of what is now known as Chattanooga, Tennessee. In the state of Georgia, in the region known as Cobb County, there is a park, a road, and a creed named after this great warrior. Fact 30. The terms Negro and colored were not only applied to the Moors to psychologically and spiritually remove them from their lands, these colonized titles were also applied to so-called American Indians who were incorporated into the slave market. And see, that's what they don't talk about. They make it like this wasn't used on everybody. And they try to, oh, that's what y'all went through, not our people. What are you talking about? Even the light-skinned Irish were branded nigger and put on the slave market. Stop trying to act special. Divide and conquer work every time. Check this video out.
Maybe they're not acting.
Always qualified by the description from the European. So you would be a Moor, which came from the Greeks Maur, and of course we adopted that name Moor. It was a descriptive adjective. It was not who we were. That's why it was always qualified with, say, Ubayd Moor or the Chickasaw Moor. Okay, we were robbed of our definition of who we were, which is our nationality and our tribe, and we fell into the description of what we were from someone else's eyes. We were always qualified by the description from the European.
Okay, so let's get into that description. Fact 31. European writers took advantage of many facts about Moors who owned slaves. European fake images of Moors were promoted, showing so-called blacks owning slaves. Art paintings were displayed showing distorted images of Moors in the Western Hemisphere owned dark-skinned people as slaves, who in most cases were also Moorish. The fake images of indigenous Moorish people, which usually display them as having pale skin, pay attention, it usually showed these Moorish slave masters as having pale skin, even when they didn't. It would show the masters having pale skin, and it would show them owning slaves whose skin is always depicted as being dark. Even if the slave was light, they'll put it in the picture this way. Europeans helped to create a consciousness which sublimely said that slaves and Negroes are synonymous. When most people hear or read about a slave, simultaneously the image of a dark-skinned person appears in their mind. By showing fake pale-skinned natives owning dark-skinned people, helped to create the illusion that so-called Indians and Moors are two separate races, when in essence, they are the same people. You go to Nigga Jack Lake. Now, with a name like Nigga Jack, I think it's time for us to start claiming that shit back. Well, we sitting here trying to read about Egyptian. We read about Egypt and all that, talk about what they need to go get they back. We need to go get back our lake.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? They use all that fake images to say that white folks was owning black folks. And then when them white folks got off the boat and they saw Moors still owning white folks, you know they must have wanted to turn around and get back on the. They just left Europe getting their butt kicked by Moors for 700-800 years. And then you send them on a boat and another Moor owned 3 white women and a little half-pipe white boy. Boy, that must have gave them some trauma when they got off the boat, saw that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, getting deeper into the lost files of Nigga Jack Bay, the Batman, the real Batman. I referenced this book right here called The Early History of Middle Tennessee by Edward Albright. Copyright 1908. Chapter 1, The Mound Builders. See, I include that map right there to show you that everything we're talking about is east of the Mississippi River. So while you're getting so excited, oh, Crip Jesus hit us with the hot sauce. No, that's why I tell you, get your copy of the Black Indian Wars and the Blue Bible, because it's a whole nother legacy going west of the Mississippi River. That's what I've been digging up for y'all. This stuff right here is documented already. It just ain't taught. And they always on YouTube teaching you the backwards stuff. The first inhabitants of Middle Tennessee belonged to a race of people called mound builders. Because of the mounds or monuments they erected and left behind. No one knows from whence they came, how long they remained, or whither they went. They were quite numerous. This is evident from the fact around many of the lasting springs and in various localities along the watercourses, early immigrants found acres of graves containing their remains. These burial places gave evidence of having been made long before the advent of the whites, possibly several hundred years previous to the beginning of the 17th century. Though seemingly sound, when exhumed, the bones therein crumbled to powder when exposed to the air, thus attesting their great age. There's some old bones that they turn into powder as soon as they hit the air. Mound builders. Where else do we hear this type of language? We hear of the
I'm not believing that they turn into air garbage. They got dinosaur bones that don't turn in the air. Man, y'all over there breaking up bones.
No, because you see in the Smithsonian all them giant bones they be having in there. That's a whole nother video though. I'm gonna for sure pull them out. They got so many newspaper clippings and documentation and pictures and hidden and back in the back. Giant bones all over Americas. So you hear this name in the Ouachita de Damanga. That's the actual nation that's rocking with the whole science of the mound builders. According to Empress Verdiachi, Tierra Tunica, Ouachita, Gaston El Bay, the Ouachita are the original inhabitants of what is now named the North, Central, and South Americas. Therefore, the Ouachita are not Indians. We do not accept the names African American, colored, or Indian. We, the people of North America, are predominantly Ouachita, the ancient mound builders. This ain't make believe, y'all. So, did I get lost with y'all? Or y'all still with me? Get your copy of the Blue Bible. Keep up. Get you 2-3 copies. Maybe you gotta get your auntie and cousin them sit there and read it with you while you're in this, because this is a lot right here. We still on the Gullah. We got the Geechee River where the mound builders at. We just went there. But it was called Gaul on the other side of the Atlantic. Over here, it just got started calling Gullah. They say we can't find it in the history because it was called Guale or Guale or Guale. Here's what I say. Let's go to the Black Indian Wars. Chapter 3, page 20. Extinct status of black. See, the reason why we got to go so hard for 2 hours straight to even just dig up this one tribe is because once they black you out, all type of names get piled on top. It's an extinct status. When I looked up Gullah Geechee, when my grandfather first, it said that we were extinct. I said, damn. Ever since then, I've been committed to this. I ain't been worried about nothing else but getting this truth out there. Ever since I looked at my own bloodline up and it said that we were extinct. And I was looking dead at myself. I'm extinct? Yeah.
Yeah, you know the Arnold Schwarzeneggers. They came over here and killed all the Gullahs, all the Mullahs, all the Bullahs, and Now everything is just free for everybody.
That part. So it says in 2021, President Biden signed a bill that made Juneteenth the 11th American federal holiday. It had already been celebrated in Mexico as Dia de los Negros for 150 years. So what was it before Joe Biden? It didn't exist over here.
Facts.
Well,
it exists only in the nations,
but it was not recognized.
They ain't gonna never recognize you. They said you extinct. You don't even recognize yourself. How they gonna recognize you?
Galveston, Texas was part of Mexico before the Mexican-American War. This is why it was celebrated over there. The captives freed there on June 19th, 1865 were people of the Kawan Nation. Their ancestors were not shipped to the U.S. from Africa. According to National Park Service, the U.S. Department of the Interior, only 5% of the Africans enslaved during the transatlantic slave trade were shipped to North America. The majority were sent to South America below the equator. The Kawan Nation was present in the Gulf of Mexico when Europeans arrived. They attacked the Spanish and destroyed the French fort, St. Louis. Their dominance in the region lasted until the Skull Creek Massacre of 1823 and the Dressing Point Massacre of 1826. By the 1840s, the original people were exiled and split into two groups. One settled in Padre Island, Texas, and the other fled into the Mexican state of Tamaulipas. Those left behind were enslaved and classified as Negroes, while their nation was classified as extinct.
Dang.
It was extinct. It didn't even exist according to the U.S. That's why it took until Biden signed it. Okay, whatever. Yeah, Juneteenth. Y'all niggas free over there. So even Juneteenth is the celebration of the freeing of a Kawan the Kawa Nation.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But if you say that name again,
I don't believe that all them brothers and sisters that's pushing that don't know that. I don't believe that. They're suppressing the information because it don't fit their narrative.
man, they was told if you say that Indian stuff again, man, we're gonna laugh you out of the room. You're not even gonna be taken serious again if you got an afro talking about you Indian.
So check this out. The French. This is when we got to step outside the English, because my last name is French. My grandpa told me, no, we the French, they look like this. Point right at the skin. I said, huh? Because I think of Gullah Geechee, I'm thinking of English, I'm thinking of the US. I'm not recognizing that the Spanish and the French and the British, you got what I mean? They were already had a presence here.
Facts.
They already
Facts.
had, we already had territory, land, treaties, and all that with these French, Spanish, English, different territories prior to that. You kind of get what I'm saying? So when we under the Spanish crown, we have families with Spanish names, Spanish territories. Under the French crown, French territories.
Yeah, we amalgamate.
They give you the slave narrative where you say, oh, that's a slave name placed on me. Get that off of me. And you threw away all your territory. You threw away all your history. You threw away all your past. You threw away all your legacy. You threw away all your land.
Yeah, because we looking at Shaq.
Black and crispy.
Because there's no way that Shaquille O'Neal is really an Irishman.
Come on.
There's no way we can look at him and say he came from Ireland. You know somebody had.
Come on.
We know somebody had to own that big nigga, right?
Woo.
Right?
No, they better not. Can't nobody own that big nigga.
Come on now, you walking around and you watching all them dudes with them Irish names run up and down the court. No. Somebody was owning the Irish, but then in the same breath, they'll tell you the pale Irish came here as vagabonds.
Come on, man.
So how did a slave own a slave when they first get here? Something ain't right. Hold up. Something ain't right.
Something ain't right. Something's not right, brother.
They was giving white slaves, black slaves? Huh? Something ain't right.
Make it make sense, please.
Come on, man. If you believe that, then you believe the devil's waiting for you to torture you because of something he did also. Stop it.
So check this
out.
Stop it. The French classified the natives as Mississippi. Right? Now, we just spent the whole 30 minutes on them. That's the mound builders.
Uh-oh.
We got to understand. We can't always make, well, that's mixed, so don't mix. Okay. The mound builders are the Mississippian. The Gaelic and the Gaul came over and become the Guale. They're not the same as the Gaelic anymore once they mix in and become their own thing. And hundreds of years have passed, thousands of years have passed. It's their own identity now. This is the Gullah Geechee. This is that in between, right? So check this out. This is when they first encountered. This is their first documentation by the Christians. The French classified the natives as Mississippian, the Aboriginal people of New France. Where would New France be, brother? Would New France be over there where France is today? No, man. Spanish was over here, just like the English were over here. The New France was over here.
That's right. And the more particular part is who is creating these new European colonies.
So, and then it goes back into the chapter where I was talking about how when it comes to the French, their whole setup was different. You know what I mean? They had plenty of Gaelic people here. They had plenty of Moors and Turks of Asia and Moors of Africa in their colonies. They had actually a minority of Europeans in their colonies. That's why they had so many Creoles. That's why the Creoles were so dark, right? But the point is, the French classified the natives as Mississippian, the Aboriginal people of New France. from the Great Lakes region of Canada, Illinois, down the Mississippi River to the Gulf of Mexico, specifically New Orleans. They included the Tolomato people of Georgia who fought the Spanish. See, let's put that together now. So we coming down the Mississippi River from the East Coast where Canada is, down to New Orleans, Georgia, all of that, right? So they include the Tolomato people of Georgia who fought the Spanish in the Guale uprising of 1597. Now, if y'all know what the Guale uprising is, let's get into this. Where was the Guale tribe located? Guale, Georgia. Historic Native American chiefdom of Mississippian culture. A member of a historic Native American tribe of the North American Sea Islands, along the coast of present-day Georgia and the Sea Islands. Yes. Was y'all ready? Did y'all know that this story I'm giving y'all, this history I'm giving y'all was actually sitting in our face the whole time? Is Lil Jon in the East Side Boys. What?
The real Black Illuminati.
If you don't get your butt up out of here, man. I hated that album cover.
What are you talking about?
When he had that flag on?
Yeah, the Confederate flag.
Break it down. Break it down, man. Break it down, man. I'm so
no. Just let's take our emotions out of it. What do we have? What are our governments called? Confederates. Yeah. Yeah. When we fought in the Civil War, we fought in the fight inside the Confederates because we didn't want to get down with the Union. We didn't want to be down with them.
The Feds. Yeah, we didn't want to be with the Feds.
The same way we fought with the British against the U.S. We didn't want to be down with them.
Right.
We never wanted to be with them. We never wanted to unite our states with them.
Right.
Okay. And the Guale, like I just told you, it's a corruption of the words. It's how they pronounced it with the French. So when you put it in English, it's the Guale, it became eventually Gullah.
Right.
Right. So when Top Cats and them say, well, it's not real, well, it ain't that it's not real. It's something that we created along the time through the tongues.
There you go. Everybody know that. Everybody's supposed to know that who researching it.
Well, what I'm saying is that Confederate flags come from the fact that the Jim Crow era adopted that flag and made it racist. During the Civil War, there was plenty of our ancestors that had that flag and was killing them devils.
That's true. That's true.
So the Indians of coastal Georgia were among the first indigenous peoples met by the Europeans exploring north of Mexico. Beginning in the 1560s, the Guale were exposed to a long, intensive period of Spanish mission activity because the Spanish colonists were few in number. They employed the missions as an agency to occupy and sell the Georgia frontier. So the missions were coming over there to Georgia, bringing all this nonsense and all this confusion. We already had that flag. You know what that flag really is, bro? That's
tell me what's it.
It's the 12 stars and it's him in the middle.
The
13th as the sun.
Huh. So that's Zodiac.
Guess how the war cracked off with the Guale, or as I say now, the Gullah, the original Gullah Geechee in the Spanish. Right. Because they told Little Jon, now before you laugh and think of the rapper. Yes.
I'm already laughing in my heart.
The first Guale war was started over a man named Little Jon. They called him Don Juanilo. Yes. Swear to God. Yes.
Come on, man.
And to go even deeper, when the Franciscan preacher came to him and said, now that we have joined our union of our Christian nation with your original Aboriginal Mississippian nation, I will crown you a true Christian. And he made him official, right? Him and his wife. And
I know what he said, though.
He tried to bring his second wife, and the preacher told him no. And he said, what? What? That's what the Little Jon came out. He said, what? He said, you can't have no other wife. He said, okay, that ain't gonna work. I'm gonna have more than one woman. Are you jealous of me because you Christians can't get more than one? We keep us about 5 or 10 over here, player.
Over here. Over here, man.
It happened in 1597, the Guale uprising of Juanilo's revolt, as it is often called, brought the missionization of Guale to an abrupt end and threatened Florida's new governor with the most significant crisis of it. See what you gotta understand, bro? They came and tried to break the Constitution and put that Christianity. We said, hold on. We know the Sultan didn't let you come over here if you was pushing that Christian stuff. We push
what?
We push freedom over here. You can do what you want.
Right.
They said, no, man, you down with the Christians now. He said, listen, I like Isa. I've been down with him.
Right. I know his daddy.
Yeah, all this we can't have more than one woman thing. I'm not the what? He ain't here.
What? That's that Protestant square stuff, man.
The truth is, we not as blind as they want us to think. They use the name of Jesus to blind us. We already knew this story. We already knew the story of the 1 and the 12. We already knew the story of the Messiah. You get what I'm saying? We already knew the story of the earth. That's what you see in the book of Clarence was really being broken down there. But that's when you see my brother Andre 3000, who me and you know is a very educated brother with this Confederate belt on. I think that these brothers are so smart that they don't tell us what they really know. They say, "Oh yeah, we just was putting it there because we thought y'all." I think they really like. Well, we thought they was ready. They ain't ready yet. We thought they was ready.
Right.
Take it back down.
Right. Yeah. Some of them could be on point.
Our brothers who are against it, they make sense. In practice, Jim Crow laws mandated racial segregation in all public facilities in the states of the what? Former Confederate states. Former. Jim Crow went back to the Confederate states and enforced racist laws there because these were the states where we were cracking. That's why we won. That's why they did the Reconstruction there, was letting us do our thing. They say, oh man, they doing too much, man. We need some black laws, the codes or something. These niggas doing too much. Right? They came with so everywhere where the flag was, they came and laid their script down.
Period.
They always done this to us, bro. They always follow behind us and try to dirty up whatever we got going.
Hey man, they got to. Dirty modes, man.
So I'm not saying let's bring the Confederate flag back. I'm saying let's not get so in our feelings that we can't get the science of what's going on here. Because now we realize, like I said, with the Little John story, where he was trying to tell us. And I really want to know, if Little John knows this. Is Allah the best planner? And Allah just
there it is. There it is. Allah's the best planner, bro. And, or you know what? And it can't be both though. It could be both.
Wait, hold on. You said Lil John took his shahada? That don't mean he know history. I don't know.
Hey, if he messing around with Yasin Bey, most def he know.
We're gonna give 30 seconds down in the comments. Do y'all think Lil John knows when he put on that Confederate flag and what he was representing? Do you think he knows that the Guale uprising is the beginning of the Gullah Geechee wars, and it was started over a dude named Lil John Don Juanilo? Dr. Hope Owens L said the X with the 120 degree right there and the 260 degrees on the side is a symbolism of this plane of existence in the cosmos. Exactly. Representing us in the center of the 12 constellations.
That's right. That's what I said in the beginning. That's the constellations.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. On point as usual.
So I don't know where all my answers is, but she's the only one answered. She said yes. She thinks that Lil John knew.
My answer is if you see him in Juma with a Confederate thobe on, you already know.
Confederate thobe. A Confederate thobe. Yeah. Oh shit.
One thing I do notice, most of the rappers that have been rapping in the Georgia scene for a long time. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Hate it.
John, Killer Mike, Pastor Troy, all they albums. He's like, well, they got Confederate flags on their stuff. What they got going on? And Mike, and they all conscious stuff. They don't be on no low level. Yeah. So
Hey, I mean, it's a possibility. I know this. I know this video is the furthest we've ever gone on the forgotten, forbidden, forsaken, forfeited nation of North America. We cover from the top of Canada to the bottom of Florida. Right.
Man.
And I told you we were gonna do it. Remember, I told you, I said, man, I got some. Now you see why I took so long last night. Remember, I said, man, I'm putting it together.
Yep, I remember.
Yeah. You feel me? So we out here.
Irie. Shout out to all our Iris out.
Gold chains, heads wrapped like a Saudi. Tap in with the Lokes, we the black Illuminati. We be posted at Lamert Park, hustling, catching bodies. A dripping OT, thirsty peaches flew to Saudi. Money schemes, my niggas had dreams of riding Bugattis. Now it's 4-finger rings, supreme with kings around me. R.I.P. nigga Nip.
Yeah, man, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. Shout out to all my MST of A's out there, man.
Okay, now I want to say something though, man. Now we just went for over 2 hours, and we was like, we touched on so much things that we, you just from what we broke down, we can go to Nigga Jack Bay for 2 hours. We can go
Nigga Jack
Brandon of Comfort for 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? We touched on many things to bring a picture here of a multitude of nations on the west side of the Atlantic and the east side of the Atlantic. Not for just to brag and say, yeah, we know something. This is things we can actually go back and get land. This is things we got people out there fighting for this land right now. We see with the Gullah Geechee now. This is real stuff right here. Nova Scotia, our brothers in London, right? So I want to say to y'all, don't get too caught up on this computer. Like, it's just fun watching Crip Jesus break. Because I see more and more people coming in more and more as we talk. And they got to understand that this high-level information, this is a dude in South Central giving this to you. So if y'all don't support this, it's just going to stay buried. They love buried. They watch it with us. They laugh at this. Look at the little dude down there trying to, you got what I mean? They love to see this buried. You feel what I'm saying? But as you can see, as we prove it time and time again, I make sure none of my stuff is pseudo. All of it can be looked up, found, is spelt in the proper manner to where it can be verified. So this is for our families, and generations to come. So if you can sit here and watch that long, you need to be riding the train with us, getting this word out there. You mean tap in for your ebooks, tap in for your merch, tap in for your hard copies, tap in for your more than one, for the family, for your cousins, aunties, all that. This is high level information. And I made it in a way on purpose, like it's marketed this way. The Bible is not a book that you just sit down and read. Would you agree? It's like you might have a Bible sitting there in your living room table for years before you touch it. Right?
Man, this is about them chapters, man. Them keys, man. You gotta bust them down.
That's why I put the index in the back for the different topics. If you just want to touch on, it's there for you. You feel what I'm saying? And it's gonna stay there for us because a lot of this information is there, but it's not connected. You see what I'm saying? You might could find nigga Jack Bay. You might could find the Don Juan story. You might could find it, but you're not gonna find it as one people.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. I'm looking at it all, man, and connecting it with the nation, man. The nation that we used to be with and the nation that we're going to build real soon. Like you said, man, we're going to get off these laptops and phones and huddle up, you know what I'm saying, to make a real power move to have a nation inside this nation, you know what I'm saying, and not just be speaking into the dark, but coming and illuminating the dark.
Yeah. And speaking of the phone, some people are getting so used to technology, they're not even hitting the phone. You know what I'm saying? Like I might pick the line up, be like, tap in. It might be 1 or 2 calls to 45 people watching. It's like, come on, y'all. Let's not get so sucked into the machine. If you like it, you love it. Let's get it for everybody. Let's not be selfish with these vibes. Let's spread it to our whole families. You feel what I'm saying? And with that being said, we out of here.
Assalamu alaikum.
Reporting live from Abu Dhabi, Black Illuminati. Make sure you go get your shirts.
Now let's meditate and separate from the RH negative, slow, repetitive.
I told y'all all colors and styles.